Assalamualaikum. My name is Nur Amalia binti Kamarudin from J4BA11774A. In this presentation, I will present about the government's role in transport investment, specifically in subsidy, and the case study that I choose is rationalization of rural air services, RAS. Subsidy is a type of government help for the financial support given to the economic sector to benefit the economy and society in the country. In the most general terms, a subsidy is any government's aid that allows people to buy any products and services at lower rates than would be available in completely competitive private sector. The government offered at inflated rates that do not reflect the entire cost of capital and return on investment. A subsidy based on public transport aims to provide consumers in the country with relatively cheaper price. This is because public transport, unfortunately, is more efficient than private vehicles. Public transport has an advantage over private vehicle in that it can lessen greenhouse gases caused by carbon dioxide, which is risky to the environment. Other than that, reduce the abnormal traffic congestion and improve societal and economic benefits. As a result, to stimulate the use of public transport in the community, subsidies for public transport are necessary so that consumers can move from private vehicles to public transport. In fact, subsidies for public transport are one of the equities that must be provided to the community. Parents, employees, school students, and even children have the right to access public transport for personal reasons, such as heading to school by bus or to work by rail. As a result, public transport ensures that all communities have access to this service. In general, subsidies will result in a decrease in supply price and an increase in the supply quantity, which means that the price of supply is lower than the original price and the quantity supplied is higher than the original quantity. However, the provision of subsidies has several arguments, which are the efficiency and fairness of subsidies. Subsidies must be comprehensively evaluated. This is due to the fact that subsidy reduce the cost of services while increasing demand. This is likely to lead to a shortage of supply if the company is unable to accommodate the sudden increase in demand. Subsidies can also be unfair because they decrease competition between open markets. Next, the burden on the government is increasing. This is because when the amount of subsidy given by the government has been used, the cost of services will return to normal and not have any impact on the progress of the country. This results in a significant loss for the government, but it is beneficial to consumers. And last is fraud. Subsidies will increase fraud among companies and unqualified consumers who are not eligible for subsidies. We move to the role and involvement of government in subsidy. First is financial assistance. Financial assistance is a type of assistance provided by the government to assist and prevent bankruptcy to a selected transportation sector or provide more affordable services in public transport. For example, rationalization of rural air services, RAS, is one of the transportation sectors that receive financial assistance from the government. Second, provide social welfare. The role of subsidies from the government is to provide social welfare to be able to use the service. For example, the RAS provide a ceiling price fare rate to reduce the burden on users. Third, provide accessibility and facilities for people. The government role also use subsidies to provide facilities to make it easier for the community to use public transport services. For example, the government has provided 40 routes of 12 airports and 15 airfields, including routes to inland destinations in Sabah and Sarawak. Fourth, ensuring safe and healthy transport. With government subsidies able to increase the level of safety and health in transportation, therefore, users can enjoy public transportation comfortably. Fifth, assuring free fair competition with no abuse of market position. Government involvement in the subsidies need to maintain effectiveness such as price bidding and unfairness between open markets to compete in the public transport industry. Now, we turn to the differences between cost-benefit analysis and financial appraisal. Cost-benefit analysis is a method for calculating the advantages and disadvantages of various options. It's used to figure out which solutions are the most cost-effective for attaining benefits while maintaining savings. In general, cost-benefit analysis involves determining a project's entire cost and subtracting it by the total predicted project benefits. To illustrate, the government has undertaken the rationalization of rural air transport despite the operating costs being covered entirely from the government in the form of subsidies. In addition, airport improvement as well as the construction of airfields that allow aircraft to land in remote and hilly areas costing between 30 million remain selected to continue the RAS program due to the benefits to be achieved by the government and the people. Next, financial appraisal. Financial appraisal is an appraisal for those who consider the potential return of proposed project to be implemented against the projected cost. This evaluation looks at the size of the project and the duration of its costs and benefits. Ideally, the return should exceed the total cost incurred. Returns will be analyzed to determine net interest by way of average rate of return, repayment period, and discounted cash flows. Now we turn to the case study that I have chosen, which is rationalization of rural air services, RAS MASWINGS. The Rural Air Services is a non-economic air service operating in rural and sparsely populated areas in Sabah and Sarawak. This air transport has become the main alternative for the people of Sabah and Sarawak in transportation and connects with the outside world. RAS was established on the basis of fulfilling the social needs of the community of Sabah and Sarawak who live in rural areas and is valuable as national service to that community. The management, operation, maintenance, and preparation of RAS were provided by MASWINGS by the Malaysian government in 2007. The entire operation of RAS by MASWINGS is the sole responsibility of the government of Malaysia in the form of subsidies and aircraft leasing. MASWINGS operates with the systematic MASWINGS, Twin Otter Viking, and ATR-27 aircraft services. The Twin Otter MASWINGS service operates along the short departure landing ports in Sabah and Sarawak. This aircraft is important in the provision of public transport in Sabah and Sarawak because it has a remote area and highlands. Next, the role and involvement of the government in the rationalization of rural air services subsidies. Subsidies provided by the government to RAS focus on financial assistance, providing social welfare, and provide accessibility and facilities. The distribution of government subsidies to MASWINGS is provided annually per the total loss on operating costs and rental payments for the lease of MASWINGS service aircraft. The cost of MASWINGS operating services is totally funded by government. In addition, the subsidy includes the renovation and construction an airport with terminal building facilities, and the fare rate is given according to the ceiling price. Recently, the Malaysian government announced a subsidy allocation of RM209 million to RAS as part of the announcement of the Malaysian budget for 2022. The subsidy allocation will cover the cost of air transport in rural areas. This makes it one of the major efforts of the government in providing the base facilities to the people in rural areas, specifically in Sabah and Sarawak. Despite the fact that rural air transport services pass through economical areas and were disrupted by the COVID-19 pandemic, which caused the service to be affected due to the low demand for RAS and overcapacity, the government continued to provide the service by improving accessibility so that people living in the area could use it. The cost-benefit analysis of rationalization of rural air services is supported by the government to connect the interior of Sabah and Sarawak with the outside world. This will strengthen the achievements of transportation in Malaysia. In addition, with the government's efforts on RAS can further boost economic opportunities that will have a positive and linked impact on the people of Sabah and especially in Sarawak. RAS can also provide assistance for Sarawak Corridor of Renewable Energy activities that will result in a more effective and efficient economic network in the future. For that reason, the RAS program is implemented by the government. In my opinion, the efforts of the government that has implemented RAS are very effective and efficient. This is because RAS can provide remote and inland residents in Sabah and Sarawak to enjoy air transport where the mode is easier and faster compared to the use of ship mode, which is often used by the rural resident of Sabah and Sarawak. Next, RAS is also able to connect the rural population with the outside world and vice versa. Therefore, the economic network in Sabah and Sarawak can grow. In addition, RAS can also ease the burden of consumers because the fare offered is affordable in line with the ability of consumers. My suggestion on the RAS program is to provide additional routes, especially flights to overseas. According to the latest Maswings route, overseas flight only involved in Tarakan, Indonesia. In addition, creating a new economic network capable of connecting with RAS. This is to reduce the government burdens in covering the overall cost of Maswings flight operations. When there is a new economic network linked to the RAS, the government can reduce the subsidy given to RAS and shift the subsidy to sectors in need such as the health and medical sectors. The last is make promotions for RAS services such as low fare promotion announcement and RAS terminal buildings to attract more users to use the services. This is to avoid overcapacity of the service. When an excess of capacity exists, which means the quantity of supply is more than the quantity of demand, it will result in the service operating inefficiently and creating losses. That's all from me. Thank you.